Now today in the shop we had some small details. We wanted to finalize the patterns for our little carbon fiber inserts. I wound up making an aluminum pattern. It'll solve one of the problems we have is that cardboard pattern, it's too flexible. But then we had a little surprise. Well, so I transferred the rest of the day over into, I wanted to swap out the mirrors and put the high gloss mirrors on and put the flat black ones on one of the other bikes. And I learned something about mirrors I didn't know before. And so that's information worth sharing, and it is on this video. Now today we're blessed with another really cold day in the low 20s. Pond is all frozen over. I got the quartz heater out. I want to try, and I don't know if this is going to work. The other day I kind of gave up on making that little side piece. Once I replaced the bolts on the MT09, I thought, let me give this one more try before I really throw the towel in. I really want to just conceal that hole there, and I'm getting a little crazy that I can't figure out a good way to do this. But if you stay with something long enough, sometime at the end of it, either way, you give up or you find the answer. I'm going to see if I can find the answer today, but no guarantee here. We're going to try to make that little part, and I've been thinking about it for 2 or 3 days now, and it's just the kind of thing I hate to give up. It's just in my nature never to give up. And every one of these bikes had some little problem that I couldn't figure out. I went back and forth, and an example, that little black piece there, that was green, I couldn't tell what was wrong. It just made me crazy. I couldn't figure out. Painted it black. I think it changed the look of the bike to where I was happier with it. But it didn't come easy. It didn't come the first day I looked at it. And this bike, I don't know how many pictures John did and how many times we went back and forth with arrowheads. I call these arrowheads. And the paint and mixing the paint. Every restoration is totally different. And everyone has unique problems that you think you're going to solve, and sometimes it just takes more time. With the R1, I made a whole muffler system out of carbon fiber. I made 6 seats. I've had 8 or 10 sets of handlebars on it. I've had so many different mirrors that I can't even count them. I've had 2 windshields. But what happens, it's an ongoing thing. I call it Evil Twins. Ongoing right to the very end. And there is no end. And this was the most labor intensive of the restorations. And I've had various mufflers and replace the brake discs, replace the forks, handlebars, many sets of handlebars, many sets of mirrors, mufflers. Just, it's endless, but that's the challenge of working with old motorcycles. And it's actually a challenge working with the MT09 now. So every little thing starts with a Cheerios box. A Cheerios box and chopping the ice on the pond, the 2 favorite things in the morning. It was 25 degrees this morning, and at that temperature the ice forms in about an hour if you don't keep that hole in the ice. I've already retired the bubbler when we had that warm weather. Might have been a mistake, I don't know. Maybe. It's very funny in this cold weather. We have ice on the waterfalls like Niagara Falls. But if I don't do this, I stand the chance of losing fish. That's the piece right there that I'm trying to make it a little less obvious. That because it's shiny black, they could have at least painted it flat black. I wanted to get some kind of little piece of carbon fiber in there. Well, in the beginning, it didn't work out because the bolts were in the way. When I replaced these bolts the other day, now I think I can get in there with a piece of carbon fiber at least, and maybe just make it look, well, a little different than it does now. We're going to find out. Well, thank God for Cheerios boxes anyway. Yeah, now part of the whole thing here, this is evolving. In the beginning, the bolts really stuck out. They were so high. These are better. Now, I know I can't cover that up realistically. It just doesn't work out. The geometry doesn't work out. But if I can get a piece to go in the back here, it'll make this look more like it's a finished product. Again, I don't know, and I tend to think not many people would really care about this, but again, well, I guess we're going to find out. And the good thing is, in the end of this, we can just jump ship and move on to the next project. But I really didn't want to quit yet. So I want to start cutting paper dolls. I've made these in the past. I know it's more difficult than it looks to get a pattern for what will just cover that little area up.
Now there's just an endless supply of back and forth until you think you have, well, you always think you have a part that you're going to be happy with. If I notch that out, again, I don't know. I really can't tell until I cut a piece of carbon if this is going to do what I want it to do. See, I don't have a way of getting that down in there. Not realistically, anyway. This is definitely one of the most challenging parts of this whole job. Because I don't know, and I don't know in the end, and I've fought many battles that I know I'm not going to win, right to the very end. Okay, now I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, that might be okay. And I've made so many of these patterns, I'm getting sick of making Cheerio patterns. So I think that what I'm going to do is go downstairs, cut one piece of carbon fiber. I know I have enough carbon fiber to make a part this size, and just see if that's going to work. If that's going to work, that solves one of the big problems right there. And again, this is a lot of hit and miss, but you know what? And here's the bottom line. It's like this piece here. Now there's people that would not bother them to see those two big ugly bolts, the covers I put on here. This piece, a lot of people, I was thinking of something else I can do there. Again, I don't know. Because a bike, to me, is never done. It's always a work in progress. So after making a bunch of Cheerios, and this is really funny, they're all Cheerios. But the thing is, and it sounds like it would be funny, the Cheerios, the boxes, I've tried using heavier cardboard and different materials. Cheerios box is just thick enough that it holds its own shape and it's easy to cut and make these patterns. So if you're going to do anything like this, anyway, a lot of people are not familiar with how to make a pattern and then make the carbon fiber part, so we try to share that information on this video. But that's now, as of right now, my final pattern. Okay, so we have our pattern. The first step is to find some carbon fiber scrap. That's the right. This may be more challenging than you think because it's a long. I want the grain going this way. That's going to be a problem. Nope. And you do see, this I'm only going to get one out of that. That's not going to be any good. This is the fine grain. I don't want that. We maybe have a problem. We have to make some carbon fiber here. Nope. That's why I save all the scraps. And you never want to use up a big piece of scrap if you don't have to. Boy, I thought we had more. There's no way that's going to work. I thought I had one big piece left here. Nope, I guess I don't. Shame on me, I guess I don't. Alright, so maybe choice 2 is I have to make a test part just to see if this is going to look like I want, and then at some future time make up a real piece of carbon fiber. This is what it looks like, unless I can find a bigger piece. And again, that piece is not good. That's a different kind of carbon fiber. Okay, so I think the most I can get is one here. The way this played out, I've got to make, this is the thin material. I'm just going to make a pattern just to see how this looks. And I won't be able to use this, of course. But, well, that's the name of that tune. And what I want to do is just see how this looks. And if I like the way it looks, then I can obviously move on. But if I don't like it, or if I want to change it, and if I do like it and I'm happy with it, then I have to make up some more carbon fiber today. And that'll be a relatively straightforward, easy thing. We do that all the time. Okay, so there's our pattern. And this is a piece of scrap, but again, it's carbon fiber, but it's the wrong grain. It's not herringbone. Now, it's always easier for me when I'm using a Dremel saw to outline this with tape. Just makes it easier to see. And I want to really leave a little bit of the material on, leave the line on, so it'll be the thickness of a pen line or a Sharpie marker, then the pattern. And this will then be my final template. I can see if it fits on both sides, and then I'll have to make up some carbon fiber. Using the tape as a visual guide for the saw blade on a jigsaw, that's an old modeling trick when you're doing detail work, or if you have bad eyes like me. Okay, so that's the next step. Get the Dremel saw out and make sure we have a sharp blade in there. And then this now will be our final pattern. And even though it's not a finished material, I'll be able,
flip it on both sides and see if if this is going to work. Now I changed that angle there because I thought maybe that was just, I could add a little material there, fill in the gap. We'll see. This may have to be fine-tuned in the very end. And where I have this angle, I want it to marry up to the seat. The seat has a little angle here, and then fill in that gap. And if this doesn't work, of course, it really didn't cost us a lot of money either. Now, I really wanted to have a carbon fiber pattern just to see how this part has to bend when it goes to the front of the motorcycle. And the cardboard, you really can't, a piece of carbon fiber is always going to be a good way to make a pattern. It's a nice stable material. We have some of the scrap in stock, and getting the edges all nice and dressed off so I don't get any carbon splinters. And of course, at the end of every carbon fiber cutting, vacuum up the dust. Not a good idea to breathe the dust. So the initial test fit, and I know I've made this oversize just so I could trim it back if I have to. And let's see if I made it too big. I think I did. Not really. What I need to do is get the notch bigger. It's an awful lot of fitting and fooling around here. There we go. Okay, so it doesn't fit over the bolts yet. And the reason is because I've got to go trim this notch back just a little bit. And to get this pattern right, there's going to be a lot of give and take, a lot of back and forth. I anticipate this will take some time. And I don't know if this is going to be the answer, but if I don't pursue it right to the end, I'll never know. And it's exactly like the carbon fiber brackets I made so that the windshield laid back down. It wasn't a one-day job, that's for sure. I don't think this will be either. Now after trimming that a little bit, I don't want to trim it too much. I want to see if that'll pop right in there. I got to trim it a little bit more, but it's better to go and trim this 2 or 3 times than have it that it's too big, because I want this to be a very accurate pattern if I use this. Now as I'm making a pattern and getting it, see, I've got to do this, it's really difficult to get it down in position. I realize this is now going to be, I made this to fit this edge. I need it to fit this edge, so I need to add some material to that when I actually make the real pattern. But getting this down in position, and I don't know, again, this is a lot of give and take, back and forth. So we're actually back to the original pattern, and I'm going to have to make another one. So I want this to line up with the seat. This has a little bit of a curve in it. I thought I bought a piece of aluminum. Maybe I can make one of these out of a piece of aluminum. Since I don't have any more carbon fiber right now, I'm going to have a dedicated day to make some. And I really want to have a part that I can use for a very, very accurate pattern. I'm not going to try to cut that out of aluminum now. All right, so while I had that materials day, I wound up buying some, I don't know if this is 32nd aluminum. It's soft aluminum anyway. It'll be great for making a pattern, and we'll see how this plays out. Now, one of the things, I adjusted that cutout. I may have to do that over and over again. But the whole objective here is to get a final pattern that I know is not made out of cardboard, fits the way it should. And I thought of one of the things, this gives me a choice, because I'm going to have the blue tape on here. I can get a look at what it would look like painted blue instead of carbon fiber. I originally wanted to leave it carbon fiber. But having an aluminum pattern, I can also paint flat, God forbid, flat black. So making this pattern with the tape for the outline is a big help, and needless to say, the aluminum cuts well, but you've got to keep your fingers really close to the blade or it starts vibrating. And I've used this saw for many, many years. This is a real antique. It fits right in my shop with all the other worn out antique tools. We have gotten a lot of use out of it. And the belt sander, dress off all the edges. I really wanted this pattern to be worth something because I'm going to be using it, and I want to be able to replicate it in the future, that both sides are the same. Now we're just going to try to get a final accurate fit on this before we go on. And once I have an accurate pattern, I really can't do much then until I make a choice. I either have to make some more carbon fiber, or maybe I can even use the aluminum, and maybe I should paint it just to see if I like it painted. Well, because I'll have an aluminum pattern, and I can make these in a matter of 5 minutes or so. So I wanted to see how this was going to fit and be attached, and to do that I had to pretty much take the seat off for the next step.
So now with the seat off, I can get some idea where the interference is on this. But it looks like we got it pretty close, to be honest. It looks pretty close. So I think what I'm going to have to do here is just make up some carbon fiber, and then I'll have all the choices for making it out of aluminum or carbon fiber. But having an accurate pattern right now is a major thing. Well, it looks like we're stalled until we get, on that part of the project anyway, until we get some carbon fiber and make a final decision. But one of the things I wanted to do, and I've done it with all of the motorcycles here, of course the bike has the dreaded flat black mirrors, and so what I thought I'd try to do, I have mirrors, every one of these has, and just to go down a list, every one of them, I've got 2 or 3 different brands, they're all painted and nice and shiny, and so what I wanted to do is see if I could just swap, I don't know which one of these would be appropriate. It doesn't matter, they're all kind of similar, they all have the same threads. And some of these, I'm just going to do a quick buff out on them again, refresh them. I don't know which pair. I even thought of putting some blue trim on the mirrors, and what happened, John Pothia did me up a Photoshop of what it would look like with the mirrors blue. We didn't care for that right away. And so, well, every one of the bikes has shiny mirrors, and I have painted, I'm going to guess, a lot of mirrors anyway, even for Luciano. All his Ducatis had shiny mirrors at one time, and every time we drop a bike, we'd have to paint the mirrors. So anyway, and what I want to do is just see if this is going to be appropriate. And there's nothing really bad about these mirrors. I just want to make them shiny, and then I'll have the choice at some future time just to paint them. Let's see if these swap out the way I hope they do. Now these mirrors really aren't that bad. They're not like some of the terrible mirrors I've had in the past. And the ones that came with the FZR, well, you may as well not even have mirrors. And I've told that story about when I had to drag Suzuki, putting a dental mirror on just so it was legal. I don't know about that anymore. I think we've outgrown that. But anyway, I really do like the idea. Well, at some point in time, if I want to have the original mirrors, I can paint them shiny black. But right now, I can make it a lot quicker. Just swap out one of the other pairs for now. That really would be cool if we were doing track days. Just get rid of the mirrors. That's really cool. But unfortunately, for riding on the street, we need mirrors. Just to mention a few things, we had gotten a lot of these mirrors from China, and to be honest, some of them were pretty good, and some of them not that good. And when I say not that good, what would happen is at high speed, they drop down or move or something. But then I found these. And I'm going to show these. I pretty much abandoned the other ones. These with the aerodynamic shape seem to be a lot better. I don't know what brand name they are. That stuff's all made in China anyway, and it's all interchangeable. And they all were under $20. So at the end, it's just about having shiny mirrors. The shape is pretty much the same, and the visibility. But I do like having shiny mirrors. I'm gonna buff these out a little bit, refresh them before I put them on. So it was really funny to see the bike with the blue mirrors. When John did the little Photoshop, I thought that was priceless. That's just really, I was thinking in my mind it would have looked pretty cool, but then you get to that edge of the cliff and you jump off, and that one little thing. So I think shiny black mirrors for right now will be the way to go. And I always like high gloss parts, that's for sure. These will buff right up in a matter of minutes. So here's some information that might be worthwhile. I did not realize this. This mirror, the mirror that goes on this side, of course, is a regular thread. Yamaha, in their wisdom, made this that it's a reverse thread. Now, probably a reverse thread is because then the wind is making this self-locking. And I didn't know that, so maybe I could pass that information on and you'll be happy too. And we're back. The only solution now is I'm at the dead end of 2 projects at some point in time to paint these mirrors shiny black. Or I don't know that they even make aftermarket mirrors that have the reverse thread. I don't have any in my collection. Now this reminds me of this story, and it's on video too. We had gone to Bobby Nivola's, the late Bobby Nivola's, for an A-team thing of putting a center stand on his Honda, the new VFR he got. He got the original Honda thing, and a bolt on this side was reverse threads, and it took us an hour to figure out what was the problem. And so I guess we're not as smart as we thought we were. Now, I did not know, and shame on me, I didn't know it, that these mirrors were reverse threads. And at least it is on the MT09. So if you're thinking about aftermarket mirrors, make sure you have the one on this side has to be reverse thread. And that's probably some information worth sharing, some good information. So I don't know if it's a unique thing or if maybe a lot of the other bikes that have reverse threads and I just never came across it. But for sure, the FCR does not have reverse mirrors. And for sure the, well, what can I say? That's the name of that tune. We ran into an anomaly that I did not expect. Now this is a solution. I forgot that I did this solution already. The reason this is not reverse threads is because I've added this. I've added this piece. This is an aftermarket piece that mounts the mirrors. You can buy this for $8-10. And it mounts the mirror to the handlebars. I had forgotten that. And that's an $8-10 part. If I really was intent on using these mirrors or some aftermarket mirrors, that I could buy that part and somehow move the things around. But it's not worth it. Because what I'll do is when I have time, and of course time right now with the construction job is of the essence, when I have the time, I'll just paint the original mirrors black or find a set that comes with the reverse thread on one side. So this is one of those little pieces of information that maybe it's in the manual, I don't even know. But anyway, I'm sure Yamaha has their reasons, and it makes sense because the mirror is constantly self-tightening, just like the bolt on the kickstand. So in a lot of ways, you got to give Yamaha credit, or give all the bike manufacturers credit for figuring that out. But again, I've learned something, and I'm trying to pass it on. It's good information. Now, a little thing I always try to do, you can't really do it on camera, I try to get up high, look down and see if I have the same angle on both of the mirrors for one reason, only one reason. Anybody that flies airplanes know how effective a trim tab is, and I would never want to have that one mirror is slanted way back and the other one here. You didn't do some kind of aerodynamic nonsense in. Anybody that flies airplanes knows that. So getting them to be roughly the same angle, and close anyway, I think it works in your favor. Anyway, we really hit 2 dead ends today. This was like a dead end day, but we still have time to shoot some pictures. And that's always fun to work on my photography skills. Now at the end of every day during this project, when it was appropriate, when the weather was appropriate, and I did have the time, because it does take some time to shoot the pictures, I did want to do some photos. Now I always go down on my computer, I load them up into the file for that day, and I have them to refer to when I want to look back and I want to see how different modifications worked out. And because I've done this basically on an ongoing step-by-step basis, I haven't done it by pulling a whole bike apart, stripping off all the paint and coming up with some brainstorm. I've done it meticulously, one step at a time. Now, it's handy for other people that are thinking about doing some of these mods to the bike. As an example, you want to paint the chain guard. Well, yeah, it's good to know that the original chain guard that comes with the bike is a porcupine, and you have to add a piece to the top. And in my case, I added some carbon fiber to the side and made it kind of a custom thing. But it's good to see that ahead of time. And maybe you have some idea for other parts that I haven't even thought of yet. Every one of these little parts is well thought out from looking at pictures on my computer. Those little covers on the side, you can envision stuff all you want, but there's no substitute for just seeing it in real life. The scoops with the silver screening in them, I thought about that, and John photoshopped it. We went back and forth with Karen a few times what would look good, and Karen, she always adds something that I didn't think of before. Now in the case today, John did the little Photoshop of the mirrors being blue, and in my mind I thought about, yeah, that'll be pretty cool. And then when I looked at it in real life, and I looked at it in Photoshop, I should say, not real life, I saved myself a day of painting because I didn't care for it at all. But the silver on the scoops, getting rid of those bolts, major thing. And it's a lot of little things, getting rid of that tail light. The tail light that comes with the bike, what a lot of people affectionately call
the snow shovel. Well, yeah, well, the snow shovel's got to go. And it's funny, when we picked up the bike, Luciano, we put it on a trailer, and Luciano looked at me and said, that taillight's got to go, got to go. So I was thinking maybe for Christmas this year, I'm going to wrap up that taillight in a package and give it to him for Christmas. I don't know. Anyway, we did have a good day with Luciano yesterday. We recovered the seat for his bike. That was good. I'm trying to add some old videos into this that have appropriate information. Now today, one of my goals was to paint the mirrors or swap the mirrors out until I found out that this MT09 has reverse threads, which may be a lot of modern bikes. I only have this one modern bike. The next bike is 10 years older. So maybe the older bikes do that now. I don't really know. But the thing is to pass that information on to other people. That's a real handy thing to have. And to be able to look at this now, and as I see it now, maybe it's better to believe the mirror's black. I don't know. But I know having John making those pictures gave me the idea, maybe that's a little over the top. So that's my whole point, is if you have time and energy to do a photo shoot of a bike before and after, and that chain guard is just one example. The silver wheels, wow. We did Photoshop on that until I had pictures on both computers of a bike with silver wheels while it still had blue wheels. Polishing up the exhaust. And by the way, a future video, maybe in a couple days, I have a new polishing tool that you're going to really love when you see this polishing tool. Don't miss that. That's one of the things I've been waiting to show. And I wanted to get to the end of some of the parts of this bike before I started that. Tomorrow we're due to have the t-shirts come. I got the notification. We have MT09 t-shirts, and you'll be able to pick one up if you're so interested, or if you have an MT09, or if you just want one for hanging on a wall or whatever. But the silver scoops, getting rid of those bolts. It's amazing how just getting rid of a couple of bolts changes the look of a motorcycle. And if you like the look of a stock bike, there's nothing wrong with that. This is part of my passion, is to constantly be playing with the bike and polishing things and changing things and looking around. I call it evil twins. But here at the end of this video, I'm going to put some video that I think you'll enjoy watching. We're going to get to the end of this video soon, but I do have something that I think is worth sharing. So this was a pretty good day. We learned something. I hope we've been able to share something. The reverse threads on the mirrors, news to me. I guess there's a lot of things sneak up and bite you like that. And maybe they make aftermarket mirrors with the reverse threads, I don't know. But if you really insist on having regular mirrors, those little adapters are fine. I've used them on all the bikes, and I noticed there's enough room right on these to use those adapters. So what can I say? That's just par for the course. Anyway, we do need to make some carbon fiber material, but the house project is starting to really overwhelm our daily routine here. So I don't know when we're going to get to that, but there's still a few little projects to do on this. But little by little, we had this unexpected turn of the temperature here. But I hope in the next couple of days it's going to warm up and we'll get some rides in. And here's some footage of painting mirrors from some of the videos on our channel. Again, put my name in quotation marks and the word mirrors, and all these videos will come up in full length. But this is one of them, and some outtakes. Now I love looking at these old videos and seeing some of the projects we were working on at the time we did this video. And of course you can see it in full length. Every one of these projects is on the channel. So of course, step one, clean a mirror, wet sand it down with some 400, get it all dried off, get it cleaned up, get it back masked, and get it ready to paint. And the first time you paint a mirror, you'll see it's very tricky to get a nice neat edge on the end of the plastic. That reverse corner when you back mask it, and if you don't get it right, does it look terrible. It's very tricky to get that edge. Now again, all these videos are still out on my channel, and as years have gone by, they haven't lost their value. They still have the basics of how to do everything. In this case, painting mirrors, and we have painted a lot of mirrors, and including the clear, including buffing them out. And we've done the ones from China, we've done Ducati ones for exotic bikes.
you name it. And in the end, I just think shiny mirrors add a nice little touch to the bike. I don't know why that is. It's a little detailed touch. It's something, and I'm sure at some future time we're going to do it for the MT09. We're not fat, you're just skinny.
I don't mind just sitting in the sun, man.
You know what? We should go up to Eagle's Nest and just sit in the sun and take pictures.
I like that.
We're heading up the Catskills. What a day this turned out to be. Mamma mia. What a great day to wear, Joe. I wish you were here, baby. Think about this bike, the shiny mirrors.
I could see myself in the
Tell
mirror.
everybody how many times I painted these mirrors.
Oh.
I painted these mirrors 6 times already. Every time he drops the bike, I gotta paint the mirrors. Oh my God. Wow, what a day, hey.
Oh, adios.
All right, we're gonna head out. We're gonna go up to the Catskills. So I ended the video with a couple of the priceless footage that we have of the late Bob Nivola and of Luciano. When I really did paint those Ducati mirrors several times. Every time that bike was involved in anything, I don't even want to go there. Those mirrors got damaged and I had to repaint them. But anyway, in the end, it all worked out fine. And in the end, I hope some of that information, you look up at these old videos and you can pass some of that information on or figure something out. It's been a good day. It's been a lot of fun. But then every day is good when you have motorcycles and good friends. And thanks so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.